Hi, my name is Garrett, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, let's talk about a game that I've made the past 48 hours called Dungeon Go. I've been absolutely possessed by this game over the past couple of days. I've got some wonderful art in here done by some of my favorite artists that is, from Magic, or concept art from Darkest Dungeon. I'm looking for the tone to create a bit of a mood board. I don't own the rights to this art. I'm just using it as proxies as I'm figuring out this game. Just want to get that out there right away. Okay, Garrett, art aside, what is Dungeon Go? Dungeon Go is a dungeon crawler based on Darkest Dungeon franchise and from the Fate Grand Order waifu mobile game franchise, but they have some absolutely fantastic gameplay mechanics when it comes to card hand management and resource management for creating stressful, exciting dungeon crawling experiences. I have blended those together so that in Dungeon Go, your job is to get through a dungeon, there you go, with special weird abilities on it. So in the case of this dungeon, there's 4 possible rooms, and between rooms, it's more likely that you're going to bump into traps, so that you can, somewhere in this dungeon, find and defeat the Greed boss, the boss of greed. There are 6 other bosses, all based after one of the deadly sins. And so in this case, this boss does a bunch of stuff to you, gives you a bunch of afflictions. You'll notice on this card it says sins and virtues. That's the original name for afflictions. We're just playing with sins right now. I pared it down even more. So what we're looking at is we need to build our party of adventurers. Now, if you were playing if this with your friends as a board game night, each of you would be playing a single adventurer. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle this. In the base game, in the actual finished game, there's going to be at least 12 adventurers that you can, take on your travels. But when you start the game, you get 2 dealt to you, and you get to pick one to be your active and one to be your backup, just in case your active one dies. And then here are our adventurers, and as we zoom in a little bit, we get to see the wizard, the tank, the cleric, and the bard. Oh, hey, not a bad party for starting. I kind of wish we got the rogue, but that's okay. Now we have to put them in their initiative order. So the initiative numbers are going from the center. This thing here is called our combat board, and the center of the combat board is where we have our D20. That's spot 0. So slot 1 is going to be where the tank wants to live because they've got initiative 1. And then initiative 2 and initiative 4 and initiative 3, that makes it very easy. They all just want to sit here. Now, sometimes you'll have competing initiatives, and in that case, you look at the amount of stress that they either have on them, or whoever is got a higher resolve. And resolve is the word stress on the card. It's actually called resolve now because these are all prototypes. You make quick, you try things out, you iterate on what you find, and then you make adjustments. In fact, not only do you make adjustments a lot, here's an example of it starts gray and then you add color. So here's this, and then we adjust it. Here's items. The first 3, I only played with 3 originally, and now we've got all these items that are built off of a passive and an active. You'll see all this later. The point is, work quick, get it out there, make a dirty prototype, just so you can see what works and what doesn't. So here's our party. Now we need to shuffle our loot deck, and each member of the party gets a loot card. Now, again, just like characters, you would get 2 and pick one and save the other. But since I'm just showing this off right now, we're just going to do it like this because it doesn't really matter right now. And in fact, when we start the game, I kind of like the idea if you just get a random loot. You just get a random one. So here's our party. Working from the front of our marching order, we've got our tank, who has the envy attack item. We've got our bard, who has the greed defense item. We have our cleric that has the sloth attack item, and we have our wizard that has the gluttony attack item. Now, all of those sins have to do with our afflictions, and if we get any afflictions, we'll talk about that as we go. You can think of those as kind of like taking permanent damage. And you can sort of mitigate it, but it's harder to clean up than stress. And stress is like your damage points. This is like, oh no, you are having a problem. So we've got our friends there, and this is the start of our room. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle our monster deck, and we're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to really, really hope. Okay, good. There is a boss appearance card somewhere in here. And if that happens, you take this boss card and you put it in that slot where it landed. And the boss is there from room 1. It is possible right now, according to the rules, that room 1, you walk into the dungeon, the boss is right there, ready to kick your ass. Because this game isn't about having a happy joy time. This game is about managing your card hand and doing everything you can to fight monsters, to beat the boss and survive. So that's the puzzle. All right, we start with our players. We always start on the player side unless there's a rule that says otherwise. In the monster card pile, we don't have that rule at the moment. It's going to be in a later version of monsters. At the moment, we don't. Like, we have melee monsters and ranged monsters that want to run away. It's pretty simple. All right, now how do we start playing? Well, who has the highest resolve? That is the one who goes first on round 1. So, resolve 3, resolve 2, resolve 2, resolve 1. All right? And then in terms of ties, it's whoever's closest to the center. So we're actually working 3, 2, 2, 1. We're going to work our way from right to left. Starting with the tank. Where did our actions deck go? Oh, yes, we have to build that. At the top of every character card, we have this contribute number. This contribute value, I should say, not a number. So the wizard is BBBGG. There's a typo. It's GG. Not. You get 5. So we're gonna come up here. We're gonna copy our blue here. BBB. Copy our green. GG. Right? Cool. Then we're gonna go to our cleric. Red BBG. Red BBBG. So fury and magic and insight. Great. All right. Then we're going to go to our bard, who is RBBGG. R. BB. GG. And then if remember, the tank is just RRR. GG. Yeah. Okay. RRR. GG. So what we're copying right now are action cards. Each action card lets us do a thing. We get 5 at the start of our turn, which we'll draw right now because we're starting our turn. Great. We get 5 cards. Boom. Now, each one of these we can play. Individually, we have something on our character card that we can do. So in the case of the tank, if we play a red card, a fury card, we get to deal damage and deal 1 stress to a target in melee. Now, there is friendly fire in this game, so you can hurt your friends. You can come up with some very clever combos if they're able to ward off the damage or heal up or things like that in order to put cards back into the action deck faster so that people can get the cards they need. I'll let you all come up with those ideas, but the whole point is you're building a little engine together and trying to tear apart the monsters. So the tank can, for 1 red, deal 1 stress in melee. Melee means just adjacent. And since we don't count 0, that would be just this, this monster here, who's kind of a chunky one, a stress 6. That's how much they can take. The word again, resolve, is what has replaced the word stress on these cards. So for a blue, we can shield ourselves. Shield is basically that takes stress before we take stress, and if it goes away, it goes away, just like shield in like Halo or a lot of other sci-fi games or things like that. It's temporary hit points is another way you can think of it. And then a green, so our insight, we can taunt. Taunt is pulling aggro. It is saying you have to hit me before you can hit other people. If there's more individuals with taunt than just one, if more characters have taunt or more monsters have taunt, you pick any within taunt, but the taunt stuff has to be attacked first. So it can actually be very helpful in the party to make sure that only one person has taunt up at a time. I'll be using blue dice to represent shield and green dice to represent taunt. Later on, they'll probably be tokens, right? And we have this thing called a combo. A combo is we can pay that many, so red, red, red. So we need 3 Fury, and then we get to do everything the combo says and discard our hand. So we get to get rid of all 5 cards. That is really helpful for keeping the flow of the game, and also if we have a corpse token in our hand, that's the only way to get a corpse token out of your hand, and corpse tokens count as action cards in your hand, so they gunk up what you can do and they slow down what you can do. But once you get them in the discard, there's ways that your friends can try and pull them out of the deck to take care of you. These are dangerous when you're fighting like a boss or things where that they just break up your efficiency. They slow you down as a group. So you want to get rid of those. All right, so that's that. And then of course our loot item. It is a passive, so if we are afflicted with envy, we're not, but if we were, we would get the after dealing stress, slide 1. Slide is we can move 1 space, it's because it says 1, to our left or our right on the combat grid in our appropriate section. So characters can exist in these 4, monsters can exist in these 4. Then swap would be you pick with a target within range of that number, and then you trade places. But slide is you move, and then everything you've moved through slides over, right? So that's that passive. Or for a red, we can +1 to all stress you deal this turn. Cool. If we had 2 red, that'd be nice, but we don't. We have 3 blue and a green. I don't like holding all these blue because I know that there's 2 other blue aligned characters. They want this. So I'm going to spend all 3 blue as the tank, get rid of all that, and get 3 shields. Now I didn't taunt, but we'll see how that goes. Let's go ahead and grab a blorp. Cool. I'm going to get 3 shield. Then this way, we know we've got a counter, right? So that's that turn. Now, you don't discard your hand. You keep those unless you do the combo. The combo is how you toss out your whole hand. So now we move on to our bard. And our bard is a green aligned adventurer. So their combo is going to be 3 green. There's a cheat sheet right now where I did the background, the color of the combo. And we're going to have, I have 6 characters in total. Like I said, there's going to be 12, so double this amount. But these 6, there's 2 per color. So in the end, there's going to be 4 per color because there's 3 colors. I like working in like mathematically easy to multiply chunks because it lets you scale your game quickly, but test it lean. So we're testing lean, knowing we can duplicate the amount and it'll still operate. Then our bard is going to draw 5. Ta-da! Okay, some green cards, some blue, and a red. So, for a red, we can deal 1 damage within range 2. So, 1, 2, we could deal 1 damage there. That would be nice. We can, within range 3, slide 1 monster closer. So, 1, 2, 3. This is a melee monster. That actually might be nice. We deal some damage. But this one wants to run away. This monster wants to run away. So, it might be good to put stuff on it now, because otherwise we're going to have to like funnel our wizard to the front at one point, because this thing's going to live all the way in the back, right? It's going to want to live all the way over here in the back. And to stop that, we'll have to get the wizard up and like to be able to hit it with ranges. The wizard's the only character we have that can hit that back spot. So then for a green, we can swap 2 other characters. So we can pick a character within 2, like characters within 2, and swap them, right? So 1, 2, or around. So if we were afflicted with greed, we're not, but if we were, we could take an extra loot card during rest. So that helps us in exploration. We're in a combat encounter. And then for a blue, we could discard a card and draw 2 cards. So it's card fixing, it's hand fixing. And I'm going to do that right now. So I'm going to take this blue, drop it, and draw 2. Oh, okay. 1, 2. You know what? Let's just spend the 2 red. Get rid of them. And deal 2. Let's go ahead and get a... That was, pretty useful. Blorp. I'm just leaving an extra die out there so I can use that later. There we go. And then this hand is going to... then let's go over to the cleric. This is the cleric. Contribute red, blue, 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 green, green. It's got stress 2, resolve 2, and initiative 3. For a red, we can deal 1 damage in melee. Stress. For a blue, we can heal 2 stress in melee. So it's, you run up, you touch a friend, they feel better. Or for green, you can swap 1. So you can pick 1 next to you and trade places. This is really great for moving the wizard up, maybe. So let's see what cards we get. Oh, hey, look at that. Yeah, we're going to do a couple of greens probably. Then for a red, +1 to all stress you deal this turn. Well, we don't need to worry about that yet. So let's go ahead and spend a green to swap the wizard. And then we can't heal. These are going to sit in our hand probably. Okay, so that's what we'll do, is we'll swap these friends here. Because swap 1, blip, there we go. We pick a character in 1 and we swap with them. And then, because notice how the bard says swap 2 other characters. So you can swap other characters within range too. But this is just swap 1, so you swap yourself with another character. Then, because we don't want to hold on to cards, we want to, keep them flowing. We're going to spend the red to +1 stress. It's an outlet, so we can let that go. And then I don't have anything I can heal, and I don't have anything I can deal, so these are going to go live, yippee, in a hand over here. Okay. And then now we have our final friend, the wizard. The wizard likes blue cards. So it's kind of, we got 3 there. Oh, hey, look at that. We don't have 5 cards. What do we do? Well, you're going to take your actions deck, flip it over, shuffle it a bunch, and then draw the remainder. Beautiful. And see how we loaded blue cards into there to begin with? This means, and how did we do that? Oh, right, because we had, we used a blue card to change the rate and tempo at which the deck is moving so that we could get blue cards in our discard. We loaded it from the first couple of people, loaded the discard, and then sped up how fast we're going through it. And then now our wizard gets to draw those blue cards. So that's why you can, like, as a group, try and navigate the tempo of the action deck to get it set for the next player who's going to be getting the first draws or things like that. So that is intentional. That is by design. I want it to work that way. Because now we can combo and dump everything into the discard and deal 2 to all monsters with our big wham, bam, wombo combo. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. It's been a pleasure. Let's see what happens. We're about to rack up a lot of great points. So we deal 2 damage to here, 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 and here. Let's see how things are going. This one is resolve 2, and that's resolve 1. So we're going to pop both of these. Resolve 6, it's going to stay. This will tick up to 4. This will also stay. So these go away. Once your stress equals resolve for monsters, they're gone. They leave the track, and you replace on the track with a corpse token. And the reason why is because these gunk up the board, and they are something we need to hit, and that will pull. So like, let's say this monster rolls up here, and it slides 2, which is what it's going to do on its turn. These are going to run forward, and then our tank can beat these, and when these go away, everything gets slid 1 closer. Now, not only does the corpse token go there, it also goes, I got to copy this here. And that is frustrating, but it is just a replication. So you always put a corpse token for each character, for each monster that you kill in your discard, and you also put a corpse token in the spot. One of the rules I'm thinking of is that you don't put them in the discard. You just put them in the monster location. And then when you destroy it, it goes to your discard. Let me know what you think about that. I kind of like this because it's all, if now it's in the discard, it's in faster, and then these just go away. But I feel like it might be more streamlined to just have a corpse token go, like you kill a monster, corpse token goes there in that spot. Then when you destroy the corpse token, it goes in your action discard instead of the monster discard. Let me know what you think. So we've got our monster discard. Now each of these had a loot value 2 and loot value 1. So that's a total of 3 loot. So we're going to take 1, 2, 3. That's exciting. Now these loot cards, at the end of an encounter, we can decide to rest and draw from that. Now, if we draw from that, that means we get to get more gear. We get to decide what gear we want to use in the next fight or in the next exploration. But also, when we're exploring, if we run into a trap, right? It's a possibility. These items are going to be a resource that gets depleted by the trap if we run into a trap. It's a 1 in 5 chance, 25% of chance that we're going to hit it on a given junction in the dungeon. Every corner, like right angle corner between rooms, is a junction. And so we'll run into 2 traps between this room and the next. And if we run into a trap, we lose 2 from our, loot discard, or we lose all of our active items. And then if we can't do either of those, we lose the game. So that's why this is a resource we want to build up, and we generate it from killing monsters. So in between rooms, it gets burned down, and then we go back into rooms and we build it back up. And we can try and get loot off the top to make ourselves better for the next time we hit. You see the loop? It's 3 different gears turning on each other, and I don't know if they're working just yet, but they're getting there. So these are our monsters. The monsters just live in discard. I'd love to have monsters that pull monsters back from discard. Like maybe there's a necromancer boss that, puts monsters back on the field. But this is where we are right now. So that is the combo from the wizard. And that ends the player round. Now the player phase. Now we move into the monster phase of round 1. And I kind of like on the D20 to keep score of what the round is. So the way this works is you go based on the monster with the highest stress currently on it, or the worst, or the one closest to the center. So you work your way left to right, right? So in this case, it's also sometimes like the older rule was just pick the one that's worst for you and do that as well. If you have 5 players, if you have a game night and you have 5 players, let someone play the monsters. Let them be absolutely evil to you and have a lovely time doing it. So in this case, we've got our friend here with 4 stress. They are going to, in range 6, so they can hit anyone right now, deal 3 stress, then slide 2 away from the center if possible. They're going to hit the wizard for 3 stress because that was wild, and I want to show you what happens. So they're going to hit for 3, and we'll talk about that in a moment. And then they slide 2, which pushes these corpse tokens forward, and they live here. Now, this friend, well, we have to resolve this. We've taken stress before we move on. This is the part that gets stressful. So we have a resolve of 1. On the card, it says stress 1, but again, the word is resolve for these cards. We have 3. If you exceed the amount of resolve, you need to draw affliction cards and subtract 2 each time you draw one from your current stress until you're back to your resolve or below it. So we're going to go down to 1. We're fine. Great. Then we draw an affliction. It's pride. Now, oh, look at that beautiful art. Electrolyze by Dominic Mayer. This was in the Mystical Archive set for Strixhaven. Absolutely gorgeous art. Stunning. Love it. I could look at it all day. But let's keep moving on. Our item is gluttony. Darn. Because if our item was pride, does anyone have pride? No, it's sloth, gluttony, greed, and envy. Okay. So, pride. We've got this card. What does it do? Nothing yet. But let's say we got another affliction. If we got another pride card, right? What happens is that triggers a death check. Are we too afflicted to continue? Do we succumb to our afflictions? And if so, the way we do that is we roll the d20, And we want to roll higher than, that was a pretty good number, higher than 10 plus the number of afflictions we currently possess. So, no, it's meets or beats. It's same or higher. That's what it is. We're being more generous. So we want to get a 10 plus 2 is 12, and we got a 15, so we're fine. In that case, something happens. Let's double check. Something happens. What happens? Character cards. Stress. If you meet or beat the T and your character's alive, shuffle the duplicate. Yeah, okay. And reset your resolve. That's what it is. So if on a success, we would just remove stress and shuffle that duplicate back into the deck. Just like that. But since we've only got one, this lives here. Now, if you fail your roll, your character just dies. Don't worry about it. It's fine. And then you pull out your backup character during either at the end of the encounter, or I might add a reinforcement step at the end of the round where you get to pull in your backup character. So you're never like sitting and twiddling your thumbs. So we take the damage. It moves. We have gained an affliction, and now we are at our maximum resolve. So if we take any more damage, we're going to have to take more afflictions. And you know what? This friend here is going to go ahead and hit us for 3. That cranks us up to 4. We have to take an affliction. Whoops, come back here. Just the one. Just the one. There we go. Greed. And then because we're still higher, we have to take -2 again. Oh no! 2 greed. So 1, 2, 3. Roll the dice. We need a 13 or higher. We get a 7, so our wizard's dead. That's combat, baby. Ow. Okay, so then we're going to go ahead and that is our monsters. So what happened? That's a whole round. What happened? Beginning, our tank shielded themselves, started trying to put some cards into the action discard. The bard sped up the tempo of the action deck so that we would get the discard flipped over sooner. Then, why did the wizard go before the cleric? Oh, right, it did not. Then we went to the cleric, who swapped places with the wizard so that the wizard would be in range. That's what we did. And the cleric used the sack outlet so that they could get rid of the red card, and then they are just sitting with cards in hand. And then we went to the top of the wizard's turn. The wizard got to draw cards and reshuffle the discard, and then the wizard got to do their combo, which was really fun, and we dealt 2 to all those monsters. We got to kill 2 monsters. We got a bunch of loot. That loot went in from the loot deck into our loot discard, setting us up for some fun, tasty treats at the end of the encounter, or keeping us ready to travel through the dungeon, which is more likely what's going to happen right now. Then we moved into the monster phase, and the monsters kicked the wizard's ass. The wizard got sniped out and was defeated, and then these monsters are hanging out in the back, and now there is no way to kill this with this combo here. So we actually lose. This game is soft locked right now. Unless we can use these corpse tokens to hit this, drag these guys forward, and then as they're closer before their turn on their monster round on round 2, hit them while they're closer. That's our best bet. And really what we'd want is maybe our Ruby combo or something like that, our Fury combo. Yeah, so that's the game at the moment. That's the combat phase, and then let's say you play through that a bunch. Let's talk about you've finished the encounter. You've got your deck is resolved. You bring in your backup character. What happens next, right? So then you move into the encounter, the exploration. We could rest if we want to. I think we'll just bring in our new friend. You don't actually change your party composition's location, but we do lose the loot discard, and these go back here. So our rogue, we are not going to rest. We're just going to keep going. So one of the things that you should make sure to do is if you have the tank, if you have taunt, use taunt. It is important to keep the rest of your party alive. So, no one else had afflictions. That's going to bring us to, yes, our exploration. So, now we're looking at our dungeon. Let me see if I can zoom in just a little bit more. Nah, that's just going to be the tab. So, we are in room 1, and we need to get to 2A. There are 2 corners, so 2 junctions. We have to make 2 trap checks. So that's 2 rolls of the d20, and on a 1 through 5, there's a trap. Let's roll it and find out what happens. Nope, we're good on round 1, and then roll 2. We're good as well. So we don't suffer any problems. And now, before we go in, we're going to go ahead and rest. When we rest, you can rest, while exploring, or before entering a room, or after entering a room. So you've got all those options. Like in between each thing, you can say, wait, pause, rest. When you rest, there is a sequence that you can do. You shuffle a loot card back into the loot deck from discard. So we're going to take one of those right off the top, put it here, boom. Because it costs to do this. And then you heal a stress. Nobody has stress. Then each character can be placed in the marching order that you'd like, so we can rearrange how we want to be instead of just what we think we should be. And this is close. This is close. We're going to go ahead and swap these 2. The rogue is going to be up a little closer. And then, in fact, do we want... They have a melee. They have a range 2, deal 3 on a green. So yeah, we'll keep them there. And then, in initiative order, we look at the top card and go, do I want that? So, initiative 3. Do I want that? No. Cool. Initiative 2. Initiative 2. And again, ties. The one who's closer wins the tie. So, initiative 2, the rogue. Do I want that? Yeah, I want that. Cool. Initiative bard. Do I want that? No. Tank. Yeah, I'll take that. Cool. So, you can have 1 card equipped at a time. So, we're going to keep this one for now. And that's how you do it. Now, while you're resting, you can also trade with each other. So, I could say, oh, actually, I would really love your... Like, let's say this cleric had the envy affliction. Oh, I'd really love your envy attack item so I could get the benefit. Can I pass you my sloth, right? And then they could make that trade. It's always card for card. You can't trade uneven numbers, and you can't trade nothing. So you always need to trade something because in the dungeon, it's about survival, and you want to stay, able to survive. You want to be able to survive. You want to be survivable. How many ways can we say the word survive? Survivability. So that is the exploration. That is the traps. That is the rest. That is the combat. Did we miss anything? Nope, we did it. And that is basically the game until you get the monster card for the boss. The boss drops down. In this case, this is the boss. I'll read it to you. And then if you'd like to playtest it, if you'd like to try it, let me know in a comment, and I'll help you get the TTS file to give this game a go. So the greed boss has 20 stress. This is a tough one. Whenever this boss is dealt 5 stress, resolve 20. Swap with adjacent monster and roll the d20. And on a 1 through 10, all characters draw 1 affliction card. On an 11 through 14, the character that is damaging the boss draws an affliction card. And on a 15 through 20, all characters clear an affliction card. So this could be really great unless you only have 1 affliction card and it's what's keeping your item on that you need in order to beat this boss. So it's a very, you got to play with it. So that boss will be sliding around, and it is just chunky and beefy, and it just wants to afflict you and then take your afflictions and stop you from getting to do what you want to do. But that, in a nutshell, is Dungeon Go. Thank you so much for looking at it, and I hope you let me know what you think down below. I'll also have the rules as they currently are, the brain dump, in the comments below. And I will also maybe even have the mock-up so you can go look at that and see what, like, that progress maybe. Because I like to, show my work and, show and tell, right? So that's Dungeon Go. This is TTS. Yippee, it's a fun program. Feel free to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.